Hello.
Mate. How are you? We're bang on. We're bang on, aren't we? It's good to see.
We are, mate. We might be talking to ourselves, of course, because it's been a little bit of a break since we were last on. But
I know, but well, it's 86 already, mate. 91. It's zooming up. What's going on? we should stay away more often. 110.
Yeah, we definitely should. There's people that would be happy for that.
I get the total.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year, mate. Yeah, I've sort of postponed Happy New Year until February, I think. Because it's not really going to start. It's not going to start.
Oh, I know.
It's
a bit of a non-starter, isn't it?
I know, mate. And Jesus, 121 already. So, I mean, because people are watching this through YouTube, from FrontLine Chat, from Twitter,
from around the world,
from your Facebooky thing. I must get into that. But no, welcome, mate. It's really good. It's been a while, and Christmas has happened, hasn't it?
I know. How was Christmas?
It was good, and I thought, right, well, I'm going to put a cute photo, right, and this will actually this will get people going, right. So I thought, oh, here we go. This is us.
Cry, really?
Yeah. No, this is what I decided. This is what we're going to do. And I thought, right, so there's a photo. There's Arthur, me in the background, right, and then you, right, you went and trumped it big style. Because you did that, and that is a lot better than that. So look at that. That's young and old there.
Can't compete with that, can you?
You cannot compete with that, mate.
Oh, you can. You can't.
I know. The dogs would just get the dogs there.
Yeah.
But I always say they look the same type of dog if they were just different distances. If Arthur was much closer.
Yeah, they are. He's a miniature version of Finn. So when I said around the world, we really have got people from around the world. We've got people from Slough, people from Surrey.
Is good.
Up there where you're from, but Bournemouth.
Yeah.
We've got a Bournemouth one as well. Happy New Year, no matter where you are.
Mick is with us as well. Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn.
It's good to see you, bunch. Anyway.
Oh, they're all there. Look, all the. I'll be nice about them. All the lovely people that follow us. I'm going to be derogatory, but they're all lovely.
Mate,
they are all lovely.
I've had such a...
Look, Manchester, Liverpool,
I thought you said Manchester then. I thought there was some sort of competition going to come up.
Someone from Buntingford. I've heard of Buntingford. I know that's somewhere.
West Lancs, Somerset down my way.
Hey, Nuki. Hello.
Nuki, that must be John. Is it John? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good man. Yeah. But so anyway, mate.
We had a wonderful Christmas. It was absolutely lovely.
I saw your live stream.
Yeah, we thought just because we knew there would be people at home on their own, probably without as much noise as we've got, and maybe they missed some of that noise. I'm sure after about 3 minutes they didn't miss the noise at all and they switched off. But
it was brilliant. It was a brilliant idea.
But what I thought was lovely about Christmas this year, and I'm sure there'll be people that disagree, but it was normally it's Christmas Eve, you've got to go and see Auntie Flo and Aunt Maud, and then you go and see your cousins, and then you Christmas
Be careful
Day,
now. Be careful.
Christmas Day, you've got to go and see the in-laws, and then Boxing Day, you've got to go here. And it's normally a big rush, but for Christmas for this year, it was just us, and it was
a big rush. That was a very good way of putting it. Instead of a big rush, it meant we all stayed at home and did our own thing without having to go anywhere else. It avoided the big rush. That's right. So yes, I had to isolate. My in-laws are great. I can't fault them. They're wonderful. But I do like to stay at home at Christmas, do my own dinner and things.
Yeah.
Plus, what's really, my kids are 21, and I'm thinking, is this the last Christmas for everyone together? And especially New Year. We had New Year, two 21-year-olds. I turned on for Terry Wogan. He wasn't on. I put him there. I love that guy.
Terry.
I loved him. Bless him.
Terry at Christmas. Couldn't beat it, could you?
I know.
Morecambe and Wise was still on. I'm sure they died years ago. Again, you can't beat them. They're absolutely wonderful.
Okay,
fact,
honestly.
Go on. I was going to say, talking to Morecambe and Wise, they had the tribute to Des O'Connor on, which as a kid, I thought he was annoying, but actually I didn't think he was annoying as a kid. He was a great entertainer, and it was fascinating to watch. Anyway, carry on.
He was a great all-rounder, But
What?
be honest now, how many people have you Googled to say, are they still alive? Because it's that...
It's that time of year, isn't it?
I've done at least four. I've done at least four. Yeah, I know. They'll be Googling us one day, mate. Our family will be. Is Dave still alive?
Yeah.
It's when my son Googles, is my dad still alive? Maybe I should have spent more attention on them.
So a couple of people have asked how Rory is. So let's do that. He's down there by the fire, relaxing. He's all right. He still doesn't have long left, and he will decide. He will decide when that is. But at the moment, he's happy, and he's pain free. So, touch wood. And Finn, of course.
And Finn, there's Finn. And the reason Arthur's at the other end of the house is because I'm expecting an Amazon, and he's going to kick off big style. So he's the other end of the house.
I hope the microphone didn't pick that up. Rory just did the biggest fart. Does he know that the Amazon man's coming? Is he primed and ready? Has he got like his camo paint on and his machine gun on his back? Is he ready to go? Who's
this? Sorry. Oh, Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's got a sniper position on the roof. Actually, he's he doesn't like to run after them much now. He just snipers them, and then he can wander up. Hey, Tracy says, we've had a Christmas on the 28th, as husband is in the border force, daughter detention officer, and a boyfriend police officer. Blimey. Wow. So they're working.
Imagine trying to get all those synced together for a Christmas day. That's incredible.
Well, last year we did 2 because my mother-in-law had to go up to, bless her, her mother was... died I think on Christmas Day in the end, so it was pretty strange. But she went to Northampton. She knew she was dying, and so we had an early Christmas Day Christmas meal. So we had 2, and it really felt like it. It was like the 14th of December, but by the time you got all the Christmas stuff and the crackers and all that, it really did feel like it. So it did all right there. I ran out of Countess Grey tea from Fortnum & Mason's, so had to get that in. So that was pretty grumpy.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, and all that, because of the late lockdown, there was an issue with my usual shopping day of the 23rd or 24th of December, which is where I usually start shopping. Yeah. And all I see is blokes.
Well, that's when we went into tier 4, so that's where...
Yeah.
There was lots of panic from the last time by. Luckily, Amazon sorted me out this year.
Oh, they did. Well, lots of guys were in their garage doing this sort of thing, I think. I like that one.
She's such a lucky lady, isn't she, your wife?
Dear. Yeah, I think only... Because we just do stockings for each other, and I think only half of it she didn't like. So it was quite...
Well, I can't imagine you look particularly good in stockings. Maybe you should do it on here. We might get a few more viewers.
Or quite the contrary, I would say.
No, I think you'll pick up a few, Harry.
So, what have we got?
I was just going to have a look through your timeline for things to talk about, but it's all far too...
No, mate, I'll tell you what. I have absolutely... I think people are fed up with talking about COVID. You
didn't talk about Trump, did you?
Huh?
You didn't talk about Trump, did you?
Oh, I thought you said something else then. No, I didn't. But just general other stuff. Thank you, Jenny. General other stuff. But I mean, there are some nasty people out there, aren't there? I had a rule. If you're just rude to me, I'll just mute you because because otherwise, and then it says this person's mute, and it might be quite interesting later on, when they've calmed down a bit. But those tweets you get, especially because we are talking Twitter here mostly, I think, those tweets you get, oi, you ex-copper, emoji of a pig, you're a this, that, and the other, and you just think, okay, there's literally no intelligence there whatsoever, is it? So that one is a block because they just pollute your timeline, don't they?
Oh, mate,
You just think, oh, you poor person, sat in your little bed sit with your sticky carpets and your you know, and you just think, come on, just, you know, I tried to humour them sometimes by saying, come on, there's a life out there, be positive. It really annoys them. Really
Yeah,
annoys them.
but social media can be, I mean, it can, as we can see from the comments, social media can be absolutely wonderful, but it can also be a real cesspit of, people who've got nothing better to do with their time than to, I mean, I'm all for opinion. Opinion is great, but abuse can, you can.
There's no need for it. And to be honest, with people like you and me, we're slightly more robust than a lot of people on there. And some people you can see, they step on a tripwire, and then you get a real sort of extremist on either side, and they go da 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 da, and you think this is probably someone who is not used to having to put up with this stuff, and it's it's not good. Hey, both love both your books. I'm a police officer and have a question for you both. Have you transferred forces, and was it an experience you would recommend? And would you say stay with the one you joined? That is a really good question.
I have a story.
You do have a story, yeah.
Gemma and I were going to transfer to another force. We had some amazing support, but in the end, just because of the world we live in at the moment, it just got a little bit complex, and we ended up pulling out. So I don't really have, although having said that, maybe 15, 14 years ago, Gemma and I were going to transfer to the New Zealand police, and we got through, and it was amazing. And they were very supportive. We had to go to London to do all our interviews. And again, circumstance just stopped us. It must have been 2008, 12 years ago, because the country then literally went into recession, and house prices plummeted by about 40 or 50 grand.
Yeah.
It just meant the dream was moving further and further away. And so, again,
40
I pulled out.
50 grand off your house is probably, 2%, wouldn't it? Is that right?
It's not that. It is lovely in East Hertfordshire, but not quite those prices.
Generally, what I will say, because I have sort of, when I was in Devon and Cornwall, I did sort of chaperone a few people and help them across, and I actually got someone a job because they wanted traffic. They were traffic from up country and near London, actually, and they were desperate to get traffic, but there was no positions, and it was only a conversation in the canteen I heard that they were going to opening up for traffic. The guy had already been accepted for response, so I was able to private message him and say, you might want to actually apply for this one, and he's now traffic. So he said he does owe me a beer, big style, because you know what it's like. Once you've got into response, and then you have to join the whole palaver to get into traffic. What I do find with transferees is if you originally lived in the force you want to transfer to, and therefore there's no surprises, because remember, forces will put you in places where they have difficulty filling. So as long as you know what these places are like, and that's what you want, great. The other issue I find is something usually breaks down eventually between the partners, be it there is one, the wife, if the wife is the partner, she has difficulty with her job, getting a new job, and it's a lot to juggle, and it fails more often than it works, but I know of several successes in Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah, ours would have been fine. I think if it just hadn't been through COVID, it was the whole housing market was very complicated, and something that should have taken probably a few months ended up taking well over a year. And in the end, we just said enough is enough. But I mean, if it had gone right the first time, we'd have been in New Zealand, Harry, and you and I would never have met. Maxie.
It would have been basically. It would have just been like that. Can you imagine that? That's what it would have been like if you weren't there. Hey, has my Amazon parcel arrived at your house instead?
Yeah.
I was expecting my dog.
I didn't know you could fit one of those in that position, so I will bag it back up and send it to you, mate. Because I have no need for one of those.
Look, I'm at the job now. I can do what I like, and as long as it's legal,
It is legal, but it must be painful.
And it would get me some followers on some fetish sites as well, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Funnily enough, that was I don't know if anyone watched the TV last night. I like Not Going Out. It's I can't remember the comedian's name, but it was all to do with a parcel, and it gone to the wrong address, and they'd opened it, and it was something that probably isn't for family ears, and it was hilarious.
Oh yeah. There's there's plenty of stories of dogs running in with items and things, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
While
Pearl did that one. Pearl did that
grandma's there
one.
visiting.
Yeah, on a search, Pearl went under the bed and came out with.
I'm glad you ended that sentence. Right, on a search. Right,
not Pearl's usual rubber toy. Claire's so happy with herself.
Claire's just seen my shirt, which is the Matt Ratana shirt, rugby shirt that we said before. But yes, can you look at Joanna Forrest? Yes, seen it. We've had it on here actually. Having done the video of the World in Union in aid of Matt Ratana Foundation. It's classic trained singer. It's a beautiful song, I must admit. Yeah, so indeed. Have a look at that if you're.
And I think we were all sort of in tears when Matt got his BBC Sports Personality.
Yes.
Award. It was amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Lee Mack. Yep, Lee Mack's. There you go. Lee Mack's program last night was hilarious.
Oh, I love Lee Mack.
Yeah.
He is probably.
Not going out?
Huh?
Do you not watch his sitcom, Not Going Out? It's hilarious.
No, is it? I will do. Because he is, I'd say he's probably my favourite comedian. Along with Bill Burr. Bill Burr is quite out there, I tell you.
Yeah, he is out there, yeah.
You know him then? Yeah.
No, you sent me some of his stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. One Twitter moment that stands out is Nick Hadley, Chief Constable, Northampton, pulling over a dangerous driver on his drive into work, very much leading from the front. Can you imagine receiving incoming from Nick Hadley? If you
No.
That's great.
Well, he takes the bikes out and all sorts, doesn't he, Nick?
Oh, yeah. I like the relationship that he has. The banter
I wonder if
with his
he's brave
PA.
enough to come on here. What do you reckon?
Oh wow! I tell you, yes, exactly. We should do. I tell you what, I put a diary, something in my diary.
You're going to text him. So Harry's got numbers for everybody in his phone. Honestly, the people he knows.
I do actually have his. Yeah,
you text him in there.
I know. I needed to speak to him before to help. Nick Knowles on something. Anyway, Shannon, well, you know him just as well. Shannon and Fiona has come up in for a bit. Do you remember the two officers who were joining Devon and Cornwall? Well, they've been there about 6 months now, so I'm going to make a few inquiries to see if we can have them on again because they were really successful. They were real success, weren't they?
They were, yeah. We've got a friend of mine coming on in a few weeks' time. He's a retired police dog handler and instructor. In fact, he took Finn and I for our very first initial course way back when. He's coming on at some point in the next few weeks to talk about he's doing a service animal charity, supplying dogs for service personnel with PTSD and that sort of stuff. Amazing guy, fascinating guy. Can't wait to have him on. Although I probably shouldn't be here that week because he's probably just going to take the piss out of me for the whole hour.
That's good. Right, first of all, there was the one and only plug we'll do for our books again, Enjoy Farms and Fatals. But he's looking, this is Greg, who is, I don't think he's called Johnson Music, but it'd be good if he was, a special constable in Dorset, near to me. A lovely part of the world, enjoying Farms and Fatals at the moment after getting it for Christmas, looking at Fabulous Finn for my 22nd birthday next week. Rubbish having a birthday so near to Christmas, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Happy birthday for next week. I hope you get Fabulous Finn. It's an amazing book. It's much better than Firearms and Fatals. No, I'm joking. No, it
is. Genuinely is.
When's your next book out? You're doing a trilogy, aren't you now?
No, mate, I'm doing this. I'm doing I had this thing where I have got all this other stuff that I wanted to write about, all those things that have happened to me. And then I thought, I can't write that and I can't put that in. And I need to, that would be really good if I can just spark it up a little bit. But I can't lie, everything's got to be. So I thought.
You need to ring that person and see if it's okay to put that in.
But you can save a whole lot of work if you just say based on true facts sort of thing and make it a novel. So I've written a novel. So I'm just going through it and preening it and doing stuff, and then I'll check it out. I generally don't think it's going to be as successful as obviously as Farms and Fatals was. That was wonderful for me because some people don't read novels full stop, and they were probably quite relatively interested in what I might have had to say leaving the job. I've had a lot of fun writing it, and it's kept me amused in
when it does do amazingly well, and you turn into the next J.K. Rowling, and you've got a 500-acre sprawling estate, can I come and cut your grass for you?
Well, all I'll say, Dave, is I got stood down by the literary agent of J.K. Rowling, and I thought, well, that's it then, isn't it? You know, I might as well give up now. So,
but the bar, to be fair, the bar is very high. It's very high, isn't it?
But the wonderful thing is, it has been generally a good way of putting a whole load of stuff. And I'm thinking, what part isn't true? And I'm thinking, but the best thing is, I can move the station. The individuals there are completely real characters, pretty much. But so I don't have to make characters up. But because I put them in different stations, and it's all based in early 1990s, it was like the Bill time, you know, when it was like the leather gloves outside the back of the black trousers, white shirts, black hair. You know, it was the blue NATO jumpers. Yeah. You know, good times, really good times.
Rubbish wool trousers that were no good in summer and no good in winter.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Do you remember when the chief constable would have to tell you when it was short sleeve order, you were allowed to roll up your sleeves? You didn't have short sleeves. And we had to wear, or the tie, or whatever, you could take time.
Yeah.
It's a good time to join today. I'm glad to hear that. I'm not sure why, but we're just waffling. We're just waffling about nothing in particular. And it's amazing how many people stick on by and listen to us. Yeah, clip-on ties. They were. I always use those. Might have a couple of spare ones I haven't sent back yet. Particularly useful for sad times. Mine is 2 days before Christmas. See, you should be like the Queen, Jane. It's Jane Alford. You should be like the Queen. You should have 2 birthdays if your birthday is in the first half of January, because nobody wants to celebrate your birthday around Christmas because they're too busy enjoying themselves about their own thing and not thinking about Jane Alford, which is lifetime combined birthday Christmas present.
Tia's birthday's on the 21st of December, and someone on my team is the 24th of December. So I do feel for people with
just rubbish. Never double the size or the value. See, because I had twins and they're boy and girl, we baked a cake once with half blue and half pink. They were so young they wouldn't have noticed, but they've never let us forget that.
No, they stuck with them forever.
Never let us forget that. That was child abuse as far as they were concerned.
They'll be in counselling for that year.
Yeah. But Mummy, Daddy, you never treat us as individuals.
Yeah.
But the good thing about my twins is I'd be walking through the door and Becky would be like, "Careful, nearly hit head on the thing. It's all right. I've got a spare." It's quite useful. Sorry. Yes, Catherine, I'm glad you noticed that. Seems like your letter nominating Dave for knighthood didn't get through. Did you really post it? We all know it's inevitable. To be honest, I thought we'd better... I'm going to nominate him when there's a bit of competition for him, so he knows he's legitimately earned it. As opposed
to... thinking Lewis Hamilton was competition, though?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really understood. I've never understood. I mean, he's done phenomenally well and whatever. And there's certain aspects I don't totally support with Lewis. I loved him until about a year ago. But I suppose, sports personalities, they've always, like cricket and all that, they've got knighthoods and things, haven't they? So if you're really good in your sports. And then didn't they have a period of time when they were giving it to MBEs, to lollipop ladies who'd been in doing
I thought they'd moved much more towards that, but you have to have some high value. That's not the right word. Famous people, don't you, to keep the whole thing going? So
yeah, and most of them are in jail after a certain time, I guess. So they just do an annual collection of knighthoods and bongs from people who've disgraced themselves.
Oh, Harry's bringing the honours system into disrepute. I'm never going to get one now, am I? Don't worry, I'm not big headed enough to think I will ever get anything other than a pat on the back.
I'd bloody accept anything I could get. I tell you, I'd have to do something first. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not one of these sort of no, I'm gonna, I'm not worthy. I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. I need that
You
for my letterhead.
rugby tackle them as you're going up onto stage just to make sure you get it.
Yeah.
Mine.
Oh yes, yes, that's true. We're not allowed to tell Dave about it when we do, though. Otherwise, he'd get. That's very true indeed. I've been lucky enough to get a couple of garden parties.
Yeah, you know what? We were invited to one, and then COVID happened. I can't believe it. I know. We go to the Queen's garden party, and the whole world shuts down. It's as if someone was going near.
That is.
I thought I could get a picture of Finn with the Queen. Imagine that, it'd just be incredible. I mean, we've got a picture with Brian May, the other Queen.
Oh yeah. You did, Queen. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I've literally stood next to the Queen on 5 occasions. So when we went to the garden party with my wife, she was a tiny little hat in the distance behind the crowd, and my wife fought forward, But I realised I'm not going to push in and take someone else's space, because I literally was fortunate enough to stand next to her and go down on the, with a Glock and several rounds of ammunition with me, which is completely legal at the time, and it's really surreal. The first time you do it is extremely surreal.
I can imagine.
And same with Obama.
And you're stood next to one of the most famous, important people in the world. Yeah,
and I thought I'd have I was getting a rubbish job. I wasn't on any list, and the next minute I'm stood for the NATO at Wales, stood next to Obama, who was having coffee with David Cameron. And I was looking at him thinking, I'll be honest with you, I thought Obama's forehead was really shiny, and he looked perfect in every way, right? And I thought he looks familiar in a sort of deja vu sort of way. And I realised because I'd been to Madame Tussauds, and the Madame Tussauds forehead was just as shiny.
Did you tell him?
It's true.
Like your work.
But the best thing is because the job this was for VIP protection for everyone, but which is an armed thing, but because it's great because you're invisible, and it's not like if you were normal people, you'd say, "Oh, excuse me," and all that. Literally, it's like you're not there, which is a freedom like you wouldn't believe. But I looked around, and all these presidents, prime ministers. And I was thinking, if a balloon pops now, there's going to be a hell of a thing going on. It's going to kick off big style. But yeah, phenomenal, really. I'm reading some notes. People are reading some people have a screen where they watch us because they can't get enough of Dave's beautiful face, and they open their phone for the comments. So it's often quite a good way so you can go through people's comments and things. Oh, I see. See, Anita Dobson, she's great as well, isn't she? We did a demo at the dog rescue with Brian and his wife, Anita Dobson, were the guests of honour. Amazing. I mean, I've picked up on Mark Knopfler's albums recently, another guitarist. Absolutely phenomenal. If people are into all that sort of stuff, his albums, listen to them. Absolutely phenomenal. That's my latest thing.
He's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Can't be knighted as far as Finn would defend Dave when Queen bought. Oh, that's very true. That's a very good point.
It's not going to happen. Stop it. The moment has passed. The world moves on.
I love embarrassing you. This is what it's about.
There you go. We both deserve one for the giggles that we give people every week.
No, that's a better one. I will ignore that. Sorry. No, that's very kind of you, actually. But I'd have to do something first, I think. I don't think you get a knighthood for wasting all your time on Twitter, do you? Don't think you get that.
No, well, no. And you could end up getting kicked off like Trump did.
Oh, my God, yeah. Forever, for life.
No, I didn't
Would
see
you
that.
Be pretty annoyed for how many million?
88 million followers or something he had. No, a couple more than you and I. I lost 100. I don't know what I did yesterday, but I lost.
Oh, mate, I've lost. I'm in free fall. I think I've lost 300. It's weird, isn't it? You go up. I went up 100 and then lost 300, and now I'm I couldn't care less. I'm just enjoying life now.
Yeah.
It's lovely if you don't think, well, what is it? Because it's so important, I think, to just do it how you want to, I think, really.
Well,
And I think this.
someone was putting their influence list on, weren't they, the other day, and there was a few other people that copied, and I couldn't believe how many lists I was on, which is just nuts, because we did, I used to be sit back and watch and like a few posts by Mike and Chaos and Inspector Gadget and people like that. Yeah, services to the Daily Mail. And then, of course, our incident happened, and we used social media to great effect to sort of galvanise people and get Finn's Law, and that's really what our journey was about. But you can find yourself getting a little bit, not obsessed, but hyper.
I mean, if you
lose a viewer and you think, oh my god, what did I do? How did I?
I know. Well, I'd often say, Dave, I need to borrow your dog for a minute. Someone's just unfollowed me, and I need to track them down. So and you go like that. But now I realised why I did it was I had my Twitter account I'd had for years and years and years, and I was just following Formula One. But I realised at the end of my policing, doing the same department, which I loved, it was fast cars and guns and stuff, but I needed something else. And even though it was getting me into trouble a little bit, nothing because of what I said malicious, but we all know there's a few landmines you can step on. I realised I needed that sort of, the drive I had to do it was to use my experience in the police, especially in the department I was in, and being a sergeant, I could speak with a little bit of authority and have a little bit of influence on people who have got a lot more influence. And that suddenly became powerful. And I'd be sat outside my armed response unit on the phone to Louise Haigh, the shadow policing minister, telling her what was the problem with the law regarding police pursuits, and that so many cops are ending up in, doing what they're doing doing what they're trained to do, and yet still ending up in court. Totally managed to convince her, and then she sent me a link to to a Times report, an interview she did, and it was pretty much a conversation. That is powerful. That is where. That's the benefit I got from it. Exactly,
and that's where it can come to it. It's just, Max has decided it's cuddle time. Yeah, but then there's the other side of it that you can just avoid. But I know when I was struggling with my mental health, you'd see some nasty comments and you'd think, oh,
people are vicious,
put it into perspective, can't you? And then everything's right again. Hey, you're right.
It does. And if we're honest, nobody likes to read something negative about yourself. Because you often sort of think, have they got a point? Is there an element of truth? And then you realise that sometimes if you write something, there are so many extreme views at the moment. It's one or the other. So, for example, I'll tell you, Dave, I suggest you don't get into the conversation. But for example, there's things that Julia Harper Brewer, things that I totally agree with her with. But there's certain things like with COVID, I totally don't agree with her, which is the national thing, which, she's not denying it doesn't exist, but she's saying that we shouldn't have lockdown. So totally. But it's almost like, well, you can't disagree with her. You agree with her with the other stuff. You can't agree with her with some things she says, but not the others. And so you end up with all her supporters kicking you. In the end, it's just block, 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 block. You've got to save your sanity. You really have. Yeah,
you do. And we spoke about it on here before. There's something from our caveman days in our brain that you become vigilant to stuff. So you become vigilant to the noise of a twig snapping because it might be a bear or a wolf coming to, attack you. And we haven't lost it. So and apparently when you scroll through social media, you get to the point, and I did this, you get to the point where you ignore all the, because Finn does get hundreds of comments sometimes. You ignore all the hundreds of lovely comments and you look for the one that says, you're an arsehole, you're self-important, you're doing this for your own reasons, or you're, the out and out nasty ones that wish you were dead and all that sort of stuff. And you look for those, and it's that little hang up we've got from evolution. The self-preservation. So you look for the danger so that you can run away from the bear. And it's you've got to kind of snap yourself out of it and keep going.
Yeah. And remember, excuse my cough. I always cough on these things. I don't think it's what you think of it. Otherwise, I've had COVID for about 2 years.
I don't think we can get it. I don't think we can get it through here. We'll get it kissing later, but we won't get it through here.
Yeah, well, we got that interlinked
that's all there.
Champagne just
glasses
before COVID started. Yeah, look, Dave, did you see the K9 from Powers?
Mate,
is that how you pronounce it? Powers?
Yeah, Powers.
Something
Absolutely incredible.
Powers. I've read it 1,000 times and never said it.
Some people live for those sort of jobs, and he's had that job in his first few months. Absolutely incredible. Just shows you the worth of these incredible animals, and they are flipping incredible. Talking of which, little plug on wrong side.
Yeah. Nice one.
Doing amazingly well. Got another amazing donation, but we do need people's donations. I can't. Oh gosh, we've had just this month alone. Bearing in mind we're not even halfway through the month, we've had well over £10,000 worth of claims. So we do need the people to sign up to monthly donations to help keep us going, because
oh my god! And just think that those individuals who would have had massive vet bills themselves, and you have just made their Christmases a whole lot easier.
Well, we can only keep going if we get the support of everyone. So thank you to those who do support.
And remember, because the dogs they have the life of their time of their lives whilst they're having a working life. Most dogs, they look at, oh, take me out for a walk. I've taken you out already, But police dogs, frontline dogs have a time of their lives, but they do get a little bit more arthritis maybe than some. They do wear out a little bit more. There's quality, and you just need to try to stretch that quality out by allowing the best treatment for these animals who've given us so much, haven't they? I remember quite a few cases where looking for dementia victims, Devon and Cornwall, where I served, freezing cold. Imagine the temperatures out last night. And we lost an elderly lady in a 90, very elderly, headed towards the woods. And we were there 20 minutes later, and the dog pinpointed her right in the depths of the woods, and just completely, you'd never have found her. Never have found her. Undoubtedly a life saved like that. And that won't hit the papers, won't go anywhere, Only
someone's asked how you donate. So if you go to thinbluepaw.org, and you'll see on there there's say it again. Oh, sorry, thinbluepaw.org.uk, and there's a donate page on there, and you can set up to do a monthly donation as well, so that you can sort of forget that. I feel nice and warm inside that you're helping these incredible animals. We've got about 180 police dogs, or retired police dogs, are now signed up to the Thin Blue Paw Foundation.
There you go. That's it. Home about Meet the Dogs. Lots of stuff. It's good. And donate.
Thank you, Angie.
Yeah, so that's cool. Thank you very much for that. Oh, that's too close. I'm going to push you away.
A question. Look at that power. Well done. There's a question on there saying, what are our opinions on police officers driving ambulances in the Met? Well, it's happened before over the years, when people have gone on strike, when the fire service went on strike, police officers and military came in and drove certain vehicles. So it's not uncommon for that sort of thing to happen. So, if it needs doing, we all know that the ambulance service are really, really stretched at the moment. So if it needs doing, it needs doing.
The bit I don't understand quite is how it must be specific, how the resources, because the cops I'm getting from all over the country, a lot of private information saying what sections were. There used to be 8 to 10 on a section. There was sometimes parading only 2 police officers. It's obviously something that we don't want to put out there and rub in people's faces that, commit crime. There's no one to stop you. But it isn't quite like that. There is always something, but they are so low. So it's not an easy solution because there are not enough police to police, and they're probably doing a fair bit of overtime themselves. Yeah. And therefore not really going to have time as well then to drive an ambulance, although I'd love to do that. Just for a day at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of friends that drive ambulances, and you think as a police officer, all you ever go to is bad stuff and people hating each other and beating each other up. But for the ambulance service, it really is. I mean, my friend of mine, he's on. I don't know how they do it, but he's on the top grade stuff. So he only ever goes to people who are dying. He only ever goes to babies that are in cardiac arrest, and it really does.
Yeah.
It does get to him. So I take my hat off to anybody like that. I really do. Their car's not as fast as ours. Retired
Question for you, Dave.
Now, we did think about including retired police horses in Thin Blue Paw, but there are some incredible charities out there already, like the Horse Trust and a number of other horse sanctuaries that have like a long-term relationship where they look after police horses in retirement. And these charities, every charity is struggling at the moment, but these charities are doing quite well, so they're able to give these horses the space, the time, the any sort of treatment that they need. I think there's a retired police horse sanctuary in North France, which is retired Met riders have set up. So that's another one.
That's suspicious.
Yeah, and sometimes
in France.
Yeah, sorry. No, they do get very well looked after. There's a
very high turnover.
There is a website, but I can't remember what it is. And sometimes some of the riders will take on the horses when they retire because they build up an amazing relationship with them. So
thin blue hoof to come.
Yeah. I mean, there's other service animals that we would love to have on the books, like prison service and the rest of the military and border force. But at the moment, the charity just isn't. Thank you, Jackie.
Shout out to Jackie Gilbert. Thank you very much indeed.
When and if the charity does get big enough, we will certainly take on those other service dogs as well.
It's doing all right so far, mate, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. But, when the stories come in and you see the service that these animals have put into their country, it's, we have to do something because they're amazing. They are amazing.
Bransbury's horses support retired police horses.
Cool.
Who they are.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jane. Good. I hear that so often. Why? I'm just being. Oh, is that the French reference?
Yeah.
Horses, I think. Yeah.
You're a naughty man.
Oh, good. When you click it, sometimes it goes to the one below, which is really risky. I work for the Met Police Mounted. I know about the Horse Trust. Thanks, Dave. That must be a good job, isn't it?
Oh, mate, I know a few, and I'm very good friends with one guy who's currently at Old Scotland Yard, the stables. And their job is incredible, and I do take my hat off to them and the relationship they have with the horses, but it's a whole raft of staff. They have to have the stable hands and lots of people to look after these incredible animals. And then he loves nothing more because they do it on a sort of a rotation, so the horse will come in for a few months to work, and then it will go out to pasture for a few months. So it literally does go out to the surrounding counties and just goes and runs around and has great fun before it then comes back into service in London. So amazing animals.
Yeah, pretty. They are amazing animals. Look at them. Oops. Yeah.
It's Merlin. Merlin's Finn's friend. And so my
really?
friend rides Merlin. Merlin's one of the favourites. Everybody loves Merlin, and he taught himself to pick up bollards, and so the rider then taught him to then stack them. So he will stack a whole load of traffic cones. He's lovely, Merlin.
Oh, really? So you recognise?
You wouldn't want to get in the way of Merlin when he's at full chat, but he is a lovely, lovely horse.
Now, I was subtly trying to avoid the fact that I was using the Daily Mail online. And then it just went whack.
There'll be a lot of people fighting over Merlin when he retires. He is absolutely incredible. Yeah, Claire knows him.
Right. Oh, there we go. Got to get him up again.
I mean, I'd recommend you all go and have a look. I'm sure there's a YouTube video of Merlin stacking these cones.
Really? It's phenomenal.
Yeah, such a sweetheart.
Oh, good, good. So yeah, I knew you had quite a good link with them and things. They're just incredible.
Oh, we've had some sea salt here for ages that we meant to take down to them, but we can't. There's no mixing, so we can't go down there. They love to chew on. Is it sea salt, Claire? They chew on them for a certain amount of time. It gives them some nutrients that they need, but we can't get down there. So as soon as we can, we'll head down there, and Finn can meet Merlin again.
See, I've always been mystified with horses, and because if we're being, got to be very careful here, but generally most women and girls get on with horses very, very well, and most men are scared to death of them. Generalizing, but yeah, that's pretty right. And yet, generally, although I think it's changing now, there's a lot of guys out there. It's usually generally the stereotype was women with mice don't like spiders. What is it about horses that they're suddenly not worried about at all, and why it's the opposite way around for men? Men are usually, myself, I see a horse and I ride it. I took some lessons once actually, but they are scary things, really, aren't they? And yet
they're lovely.
And yet they get to know them like they're a family dog as well, don't they? People get so attached to them.
Yeah. Although they're all characters, when I was going around the stables, they were like, "Yeah, no one likes to ride him because he's in charge and he's a so and so, and that one, will only in their time." And
no apology needed there. Can we remember Officer Brian Sicknick, the US Capitol Police officer murdered in the riot a couple of days ago? There was a wonderful display of respect for him by all these lights and police officers. Do you know what? I didn't put it on because I thought people would say, "Oh, they're not, social distancing," and actually looked at them and they were pretty much social distancing. And also the very sad loss in Thames Valley of an officer there, where, don't know the details, but they've obviously, it's very personal to them, and it's very much about making sure people keeping an eye on each other and making sure people talk. But again,
and that goes for all of us on here, whether you're police or not. It's tricky times, and don't think that you need to suffer in silence, even if it's just reaching out, or even if it's just coming on here and abusing me and Harry.
Yeah, I'm all for that, but more for him. But it never ends up that way. But I mind you, because I deserve it more. But how many people do I speak to on private messages, police officers, and I end up saying, ignore the haters. Just ignore the haters. Look up to the people that deserve it, that warrant your assistance. Be professional, and don't give the others a second thought. And that's a really good coping mechanism. To don't try to please the idiots out there. They've made their decisions that they want to be they want to stereotype all police as a certain type. So let's give them a good old verbal kicking. And let's blame COVID legislation and what's happening on individual police officers on the front line. Why not?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Derbyshire's sort of got a bit of not really a bashing, but
they have really.
The other day.
Yeah, sort of,
yeah. But you know what? What do you do? These people are turning up to places that they've been told that it isn't in the spirit of it. I don't know what the answer is.
Mine, from the outside,
part.
Not one to ever have an opinion, as you know, but I would say, I'm really cautious about. I want to know the whole circumstances, because taking another incident, you could say, look, do you mind, you can't come here, you're breaking the rules and all that. And if you got a whole load of abuse back, you'd say, okay, well, the friendly bit of advice isn't going to help. There's a ticket, all right? And that bit doesn't often come in. Yeah. With this one, I'd be very surprised if it was like that, because there's been no mention of that. And also, I understand with the two girls involved, one had, there was like doctors, she had a doctor dealing with COVID as a brother, and it was the whole thing. And so I think it's just, discretion. My force, Devon and Cornwall, they've got it bang on, I think, because we're lucky in a force area where we are mostly, there's a low crime rate. So people don't take the mick maybe as some areas, where they all say, come on, let's protest and all that. If you protested in Devon and Cornwall, you'd probably get about 5 people together to a march down the main street. But I think they got it right. They're saying, look, if you go in big groups and whatever, you're going to get hit with tickets and stuff. Otherwise, we're going to advise you. But there is that firm line as well. The chief short story was like, "You take the mick, we won't accept that."
You look at the Welsh police. The struggles they've had with so many numbers going to the Snowdonia National Park. It was, at what point do you do something? I don't know the answer. I know the chief of Derbyshire, and she's an absolutely incredible lady who's very fair. So yeah, we don't know the ins and outs of it. It could just be, I don't know. Maybe local residents said, "What the hell is going on? Why are all these people coming here?" Who knows? It's like when you target an area for speeding, isn't it? And you get a mouthful of abuse of time. I mean, I still remember stopping an old lady for speeding. She was doing 45 in a 30. She thought it was dreadful that she was getting stopped for speeding. Couldn't understand why I couldn't just let her off. And then asked me at the end of it if I could come to her village to do some speed enforcement because they speed through her village all the time. So it was all right to do it in someone else's village, but it wasn't all right to do it in hers. So,
how many? Do you remember? I've put it in my novel actually, but do you remember how many people used to say to you, "Yeah, well, I don't wear a seatbelt, do I?" Because they used to always talk like that. Well, because I know my mate, right? He was driving along, he had his tyre burst, and the car burst into flames, and because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he was flung free, and he survived. And I'm like, Britain must have been littered with burnt out cars. with dazed drivers wandering about, It was just ridiculous. That little message there, I think Tia deserves an absolute wonderful round of applause, really, because this Tia was amazing. She did 25 tricks for Christmas, didn't she? The rundown.
She did, yeah, let me just go on mute and call her.
And she was. And basically, for everyone here, she did a trick for every day and taught the little Frenchie, that's not the little Frenchie, but there's Tia. And she taught the little Frenchie, Harper, to do a new trick every day.
She's coming.
It was phenomenal. And taught people how to train their own dogs.
I know, she's amazing. And she's now moved on to scent. She's teaching all the dogs scent work and all sorts of stuff. She's incredible. I wish I'd had that support for something I loved when I was a kid, because I might be a better dog trainer than I am now. Talking of which, we are doing online dog training and online scent courses for people that are stuck at home and bored and want to do something with their dog. Because obviously we've seen the reports of dogs being given up already because of minor behavioural issues. Well, it doesn't need to be the case. Dogs are incredible. They want to learn. Give them a job to do, and then you can end up with a relationship like these two.
Yay, Tia!
Well done.
I loved her introduction every time as well. It was so sort of, and the way you taught it was just so sweet. It was really brilliant. And I'm surprised Harper isn't like 4 times the size now with all the treats, with all the training. But I suppose it uses energy up as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So why did you do it?
It's just to make your lead up to Christmas more fun, and because we're all in lockdown and staying home. So
You enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. Look, there's loads of people commenting. I love Tia's tricks, brilliant. It is wonderful. Tia is wonderful. I would love to have a little zoom into the future to see what you actually end up doing.
I know. Wow. Wouldn't it be good if she was like dog trainer to the stars and flying out to LA to train such and such dogs?
Well, you haven't done so badly yourself on that, mate, really.
I'm not sure about that.
Harper is a cool name as well, yeah. It's a very important. Do you know what Arthur was called? And even on his vets thing, it's got the original name and then crossed out. He was called I've forgotten his name now.
Stop that.
Who's the one in? Oh no, I've forgotten his name. Who's that? Harry Potter, the little thing that got kicked around the house, the little abused.
I'm
Harry
sure
Potter.
I'm sure someone.
What's it called? What's his name?
I don't know.
Come on, someone. Tell me. They'll do. That little hairless animal. That hairless creature. Oh, no one's coming up. What's the matter? They just think I'm talking nuts.
Harry, the hairless creature.
Dobby, thank you, Mick. Oh, I was going mad. Yeah, we called him Dobby, and then we just felt really mean. So we said to the vet, no, we've changed his name. He's not called Dobby now.
He is lovely, Arthur, bless him.
Thank you, Angie. That's a good attempt, but not quite. Yeah, it is. That's good. No, thank you. But yeah, so there we are. We got, look, 16:54. We've only got 6 minutes left. It's been good to catch up.
Everybody for coming back. We have got some guests coming up. If you know of anybody who's worthy of being a guest, then give us a shout. We're thinking of Hollywood stars, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
we will be kicking off again with Finn's Law Part 2 in the next week or so. So please, if you can help and support us with that, please, we've got to get it over the line this year. We were very lucky to get a change in the law whilst Finn was still alive. Sometimes these things take decades just to finish his legacy. I'm not saying he's going anywhere. Touch wood, he's not going anywhere. But just to finish that Finn's Law project would be incredible. So look out for that, and please give us a hand and email your MPs to say, come on, what's going on?
Yeah. Really important. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't go through, but it's just isn't that right?
Massively supported, huge support for it. If you look at Finn's map of MPs, we've got there's probably only 100 MPs, there's 650 MPs. Some are not allowed to vote on stuff to do with England and Wales. But there's probably only 100 MPs that we haven't yet got signed up. So it's just a few people we need to fill that. So that's an amazing job, and a massive shout out to my friend Kay Nightingale, who's been absolutely incredible and has absolutely worked her socks off for this second part of the campaign. Massive support, but it all comes down to time. Parliamentary time is so short, but we're not going to use that as an excuse. We are going to get it. We're going to get on with it. We're going to keep on at them politely, and we're going to get it. There you go. That's my soap.
They need to get rid of you because you're just noisy and creating noise. So they need to get rid of you by passing it. Get it passed, and then you'll go away. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, people keep saying to me, what are you going to do next when you've done that? My bosses have said nothing.
Yeah, there's a big contract that you need to sign to say.
Honestly, guys, there is so much I'd love to do. There's so much I'd love to put on social media, but I'm so I wouldn't say micromanaged because I'm not. My bosses are incredible, but I am watched, and there's things I'm not allowed to do. I would love to share with you, the things that Pearl and Hero do every day in their little characters, and I used to, but I've been told I'm not allowed to. So I have to be very careful with what I do and what I don't do. I'm very lucky. My bosses are brilliant.
It is very restrictive, but you're fortunate, I think, where you do. I think you've proven yourself. Your track record shows that you're pretty responsible, and I think you have done very well to avoid the huge number of tripwires and landmines I used to just jump around the field trying to find with both feet.
Oh yeah,
and did regularly.
Sometimes people throw grenades at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you know what to do with it. I've had that quite a lot. People purposely trying to trip me up to see what happens, and luckily I've got an amazing bunch of people like Harry behind me who will deflect that grenade.
Come on if you think you're hard enough. I do chuckle when I think, oh bless them, they think they're trying to intimidate me. When you think, Dave, the amount of intimidation from quite nasty people who've killed people. They threaten all this, and you think some little oik behind his keyboard is going to worry.
I know.
It is amusing, but no, that's it. But I think we've got to end on this positive mental attitude. Look, we've got a month. January, February, March are the toughest months to get through anyway, because they're a little bit. Everyone's run out of money. The weather is cold and damp. There's nothing to look forward to until Easter, really. And they are tough to get through. So I think it's important. People have got to have a plan, and don't get too.
Finn's four P's: positivity, persistence, persuasion. Can't remember what the other one is. Someone will tell me. Finn's 4 P's. You live by those, it'll be amazing.
That is wonderful. Right. Remember, you can follow us. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us. Where's the YouTube thing? If you want to catch up with any of these, of any of our previous shows, there's quite a lot of them. We put it all on our YouTube thing yesterday, last year. And I think there you go. Just search Frontline Chat, one word, there you can, and you can find them there. So loads of guests, loads of people with John Nichols, with Nick Knowles, and that side of thing. It's been, they're all on there. I'm just going to get rid of the, excuse me, Tracy, but I've got to just find you to leave you, because otherwise you'll stay there forever when I shut the whole thing down.
Polite,
it's that time, mate.
Persistent persuasion. There we go. Someone put them on. Thanks, Kay. Thanks, Jill.
Good.
Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Saturday.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.